One of the questions I get often is, how am I doing relative to the rest of the world, my neighbor, my friend, etc.? And in this video, I'm going to share with you what the average net worth of a person at age 62 is, and also address whether or not that's really important. I'll share with you those numbers, but before we get there, subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so you're alerted to when we post new videos. So the question might be, how do I compare to my neighbors? And I want to share with you a particular story. I've been doing this for 32 years now, and trust me, I've got lots of stories. And this particular one is interesting because if you sort of take a look at it from afar, you would have thought this would have been a successful story, a joyous story. So Dad had built a real estate empire, and he was worth several $1,000,000. However, his kids, who were my clients, were talking about not only their money, but the inheritance that they might get from their father and how they could possibly help their father to manage and control his net worth and what's going to happen in the next chapter of life. Unfortunately, Dad passed away, in essence, the old story behind the desk, right? He never really left work. He passed away in his early 90s, actually, went to work every single day. And he really, truly didn't enjoy the journey. But more importantly, you know, if we're going to compile money, hopefully it will be to leave a legacy, financial or otherwise, for the rest of our family, to help to take care of them or others in the way that we choose. But because Dad had in essence done nothing, this several $1,000,000 net worth, once it went through the whole estate planning probate process, ended up with the kids maybe having a few $100,000. Now, we don't sniff at a few $100,000, but relative to the several million, it was not a happy ending. And the real story here is, if we had looked at him at his number and compared ourselves to him and said, gosh, we don't have as much of a net worth as he does, but we probably were enjoying the journey more and tending to some of the details more to make sure that the next generation and their generation will be able to bear the fruit of our labor if we had accumulated such a net worth that it could be passed along to the next generation. So we really need to be careful about these numbers and comparing ourselves to others. Because again, in this industry, I've learned a good-looking cover of the book does not necessarily mean that the contents inside are as feel-good as the cover might seem to those who are unaware. One other thing before I get into the numbers, and I think it's really important because I think our industry has done a lousy job of helping people understand how to prepare for retirement. Okay? Most of the commercials and most of the messaging is about investing and accumulating assets. And as I say, I have over 3 decades of experience here talking with people. Everybody's different. Some people can retire very comfortably in retirement with not a lot of money. Some people need a lot of money because of the way they lead their lives. Everyone is different, but our focus from an educational perspective is, if you don't have enough money, you can't retire successfully. And that's the wrong message. Because I know of lots of people who don't have lots of money, who are very happy in this next chapter of life in retirement. By the way, if you're concerned about or wondering how prepared you are for your retirement, go to our banner, invest 2 minutes of your time, take the quiz, very quick, I'll score it for you, get it back to you immediately, which of the 3 stages of retirement planning you are in. I'll also get you a chapter of my book, the first chapter, Don't Outlive Your Money in Retirement. and a couple of worksheets to help you understand and gauge more clarity as to where you are as you do enter into this next chapter of life. Now, as we get into the numbers here, I really want to make something really important. And again, our industry's not done this well. The focus has been on accumulating a net worth. But what if your net worth is in the real estate? What if your net worth is illiquid and you can't touch it? What if your net worth doesn't necessarily provide you with the income that you need? Because cash flow is actually more important than how much money you have. Because cash is king in retirement. So again, let's keep this all in perspective, frame it properly. Generating cash flow is more important than how much we have in investments. But even so, we want to take a look at and compare ourselves for net worth. So let's get into it. So I'm going to give you two different numbers. One is the mean. So the mean is a compilation of all the numbers and the average of it. But that's often skewed because some have, billions of dollars of net worth and some have zeros. But the number on the mean is typically higher than what we call the median, which is really the average of all. The median is literally that person who is right in the middle. Basically, 49.999% have fewer or less in net worth, and 49.99999% have more in net worth. That is the number that is literally right in the middle, the quote-unquote average. Now, these numbers were taken from a recent study, 2019. It is from the Federal Reserve Board Consumer Finance Report. So these numbers are really up to date. The mean number in terms of net worth for those at the age of 62 is $1.188 million. Now remember, there are some who were worth billions. So that this number I just gave you is higher than the median, the average. And the median number is $229,000, including the house. So as you can see, it's a very different landscape we're working on, whether we're talking about the mean or the median. Now, another interesting number is that the top 1% net worth, in order to enter this exclusive territory, you must have a minimum of $17.6 million. Most people, you aren't going to be able to do that on your own as an individual. If you built a business or you had an inheritance from a previous generation who had made it, most people will never enter that category. But just as a number, 17.6 million. But again, the number is just a number. It has absolutely nothing to do with how fulfilled or happy or what we're doing for the journey. We've heard way too many stories of people who had lots of money and life just didn't end up well for them. So you must just keep it in mind. The number is the number. Some who don't have very much money at all, who are in that middle, $229,000, many of those people more than likely are very happy with their journey into retirement. And there are some who are going to be at the higher end, the 1.188 million, who may not be as happy even though they have more money. So remember, money is not the end all to be all. It's what we do with it, how much cash flow we have. And if you want to find out more about the 7 key steps to make sure that you're taking them so you're not going to outlive your money in retirement, watch our playlist.